Live from the Thinkubator at the Tech Valley Center of Gravity, this is Steam-Powered Saturday, a free, monthly event where children ages 4 to 12 and their families are invited to visit us for a fun, creative, hands-on project. These mind-expanding projects help children discover creative play through science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. This month, we're on the internet. Now your host, Dan the Science Man. Chemistry. It's the study of materials and how they interact with each other. The best thing about chemistry is that it's all around us, and anyone can explore it. So today, we are all going to become chemists. Before we start, we want to thank the Albany Society of Engineers Foundation for their generous, ongoing support of Steam-Powered Saturday. Our special virtual editions are brought to you through additional sponsorship from GE Healthcare in Troy, New York, and Agora Media. Now, for the next few months, we will be hosting Steam-Powered Saturday online and focusing on projects that you can do at home with materials you already have. Since we are working with chemistry today, we are going to study what things are made up of. Everything around you, everything you can see and touch, is called matter. All matter can be broken down into single molecules. If this piece of paper were cut down as small as possible, we would be left with one molecule of paper. Those molecules can be broken down further into atoms. Atoms are the smallest thing matter can be broken down into. So, atoms make up everything. That's why you can't trust them. Molecules have unique properties. They are different sizes. They can have a positive charge, a negative charge, or no charge at all. Scientists can identify molecules by looking at these and other properties. A process called chromatography can help scientists understand what kinds of molecules are in a mixture. It can show how much or how little there is of each molecule type, and even the size of the molecule. It works by using a liquid to move the molecules across a special paper. Since the molecules are all different sizes, they will travel across the paper at different speeds, forcing them to separate from each other. We're going to show you how to do your own chromatography chemistry experiment. Now, I know what you may be thinking. I can't do a chemistry experiment at home. I need a special lab to do one of those. But the truth is, you do have a special lab. It's called your kitchen. Our senior chemistry lab correspondent, Dan, will show you how to get started. Dan? Thanks, Dan. As always, we're going to start by talking about safety. Now, this week we're doing work in the kitchen. Anytime you're doing work in the kitchen, you should have an adult with you. The experiment we're going to do is going to get a little bit messy, so make sure you're working on a surface that won't get stained. And you probably want to wear old clothes or things that are allowed to get dirty. And even though we're doing work in the kitchen, we're not going to eat any of our experiments. So, chromatography. Dan already told you a little bit about how the process works. Scientists use it to separate mixtures into their molecules. It's used a lot in food testing. If you look on the back of any food product, you'll see the nutrition facts label, and it'll show you how many grams of vitamins and minerals are in a particular product. Those numbers were figured out using chromatography. But today, we're going to use chromatography to investigate magic markers. Now, markers use a special molecule called pigments in order to get their color. Some markers only have one pigment, while others are made up of a mixture of several different pigments. So we're going to use chromatography to figure out what pigments are in your favorite colors. For this experiment, you're going to need some coffee filters, but if you don't have coffee filters, that's okay. You can use paper towels or even plain white paper should work okay. You're going to need some water and some washable magic markers. So for each marker that we want to experiment with, we're going to start by drawing about a 1-inch circle of color in the center of our filter. Next, we're going to place a little bit of water on top of our circle of color. Now, we don't want to use too much water. In fact, the less water we use, the better. So instead of trying to pour the water on top of the circle, If you happen to have a straw handy, you can place the straw in the water, put your finger on top of the straw, move it over the color, let go, and a couple drips of water will fall down onto the filter. Now, you'll see the water start to be absorbed by the filter and go up the sides. And along with it, the water is going to take those pigments, those small molecules that make up the color, along with it. And this process is going to take a couple minutes, but after a while, you should start to see a little bit of yellow, kind of along the middle edges, and along the outer edges, you're going to start to see a little bit of a blue color. So what does this tell us? Well, for one, we know that the green marker is made up of blue and yellow pigments, which makes sense. You mix blue and yellow together and you get green. We also know that the smaller molecules will travel faster and further along a piece of paper. So, since blue is on the outer edge and yellow is more toward the middle, we can deduce that the blue molecules are smaller than the yellow pigment molecules. So, give this process a try with all of the markers you have at home. You'll find that some markers, like red, are only made up of one pigment, so you're only going to get one color. But other colors, like brown, well, brown gives you some interesting results, so I'll let you try that one out for yourself. And when you want to start having some real fun, try using several different markers on your coffee filter and using a little bit more water. And then once it dries, you're going to get a cool tie-dye piece of paper. And then you can use this for all sorts of other craft projects. For example, if you bunch it up and maybe tie a pipe cleaner along the edge, you'll get yourself a nifty-looking flower. And Mother's Day is coming up, so this might give you some inspiration for some cool Mother's Day projects. So that's the basics of doing chromatography at home. Back to you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. I'm excited to try that experiment when I get home. If you try it, let us know what you discover in the comments. Were you surprised by any of the results? And if you haven't seen it already, check out our April segment all about rainbows. The Make Your Own Rainbow contest deadline has been extended to May 15th, so you still have time to send us your rainbow creations. Join us next time for Steam Powered Saturday on June 6th. I'm Dan the Science Man, and I hope you have a scientific day.